What if I told you that in just one single night? Yes. Tonight, you could unlock the same timeless wisdom that shaped emperors, freed men from chains, and gave Holocaust survivors the inner strength to endure humanity's darkest trials. These are not empty promises. The ancient Stoic secrets I'm about to reveal have been tested for more than 2,000 years. They guided Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who ruled the mightiest empire on earth while keeping unshakable calm in the chaos of leadership. They empowered Epictetus, who rose from slavery to unbreakable spiritual freedom. They gave Viktor Frankl the psychological resilience to survive the horrors of concentration camps and emerge with a vision of life that continues to heal millions of souls around the world. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people never want to face. Just one night can completely transform your life, not because the universe bends itself to your wishes, but because you finally choose to see it through entirely new eyes. It only takes one night of brutal honesty with yourself, one night of deep reflection without distractions, one night of courage. The courage to confront the face in the mirror and admit, I cannot waste another day of the life I've been given. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Think about that for a moment. How many of us are guilty of this? How many of us drift through life half asleep, scrolling endlessly, chasing validation, waiting for a perfect tomorrow that never comes? We tell ourselves we have endless time, that someday we'll start living differently. But we keep postponing the changes we desperately need. We live in an illusion that tomorrow will be different, yet we refuse to act differently today. But what if tonight was the night you broke the cycle? What if you refused to let another precious day slip through your fingers? Imagine what would happen if you finally looked your excuses in the eye, silenced every distraction, and asked yourself the most life-changing question you'll ever face. What am I truly doing with this one, irreplaceable life I've been given? That single spark of crystal-clear awareness could become the turning point you'll remember for the rest of your life. Because the 9 Stoic truths I'm about to share with you are not fluffy motivational quotes or shallow feel-good lines. These are battle-tested principles of Stoicism, forged in hardship, refined by history, and proven by the lives of the strongest minds humanity has ever known. Once you internalize them, they will create a foundation so unshakable in your mind that when you wake up tomorrow morning, you will feel like a completely new person. Not because you've absorbed something foreign, but because you've remembered something eternal, something that was always within you, waiting to be awakened. Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Tonight, you'll discover exactly what he meant. Tonight, you'll reclaim your inner power. Tonight, you'll unlock the mindset that makes you truly unstoppable, not by conquering the world, but by mastering yourself. But before we dive deep into these 9 transformative truths, I need you to make a promise to yourself. Don't skip a single second of this video. Every principle could be the exact catalyst your soul has been craving. If this message already resonates with you, prove it. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs this reminder. And subscribe so you never miss another lesson in Stoic wisdom and practical philosophy. And there's one more step, one that might feel small but is incredibly powerful. Type this affirmation in the comments right now. Tonight, I begin to transform my life. Don't just type it. Say it out loud. Feel those words vibrate in your chest. Let your subconscious hear them. Because this is not just another video you're casually watching. This is a declaration, a turning point. The night you stop postponing your life. This is the night everything changes. Let's begin. Number 1. True control begins the very moment blame ends. Most people have the meaning of control completely backwards. They believe control means forcing others to change, demanding fairness from life, or bending the world to their will. But here's what the ancient Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago, and what modern psychology confirms today: true control doesn't come from domination. It begins the instant you stop blaming. Think about your own life right now. How much mental energy do you waste on thoughts like, "I'd be happier if my family supported me more," or "I'd be more successful if my boss wasn't holding me back," or I'd be in a better relationship if people weren't so selfish. Maybe you've thought, I'd be further ahead if life hadn't dealt me such a terrible hand. Sound familiar? Every single time you blame someone else, you hand your power away. You're essentially saying, my happiness, my success, my peace, they all depend on someone else's choices. But as Epictetus taught, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. The problem is almost never the event itself. It's the story you attach to it. When you live in blame, you lock yourself in invisible chains. You say, I can't be free until they change. I can't be at peace until they apologize. I can't be happy until the world becomes fair. But Stoicism and neuroscience alike prove the opposite. Freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for the world to change and instead change the way you respond to it. Here's the truth. You cannot control what others do to you. You cannot rewrite the past. You cannot guarantee that life will ever be fair. But there is always one thing in your hands, your response. And your response is where all your real power lives. This isn't easy. It takes enormous courage to say, yes, people have hurt me. Yes, life has knocked me down. Yes, unfair things happened. But I will not let those moments define my future. I am responsible for my next step. That mental shift from being a victim of circumstances to becoming the author of your response is where real transformation begins. The night you stop blaming your parents for how they raised you. The night you stop blaming your ex for your heartbreak. The night you stop blaming society, bad luck, or your boss. That's the night you reclaim yourself. Why is blame so addictive? Because it feels comforting. It removes responsibility from your shoulders. It's easier to say it's their fault than to ask, what can I do differently? But comfort is a trap. Growth begins with accountability. The moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And instead ask, what can I do now? You cross the bridge from helplessness to empowerment. Think about all the nights you've wasted replaying painful stories in your head, imagining apologies you'll never receive, or wishing people would finally admit they were wrong. How much energy have you poured into things completely outside of your control? And what if tonight you finally said, I cannot change what's been done to me, but I will never again let it control me? That is the night you truly break free, because true control doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means that no matter what storm comes, you know the steering wheel is in your hands. People will still betray you. Life will still test you. Circumstances will still throw curveballs. But blame will never solve any of it. Ownership will, Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Apply that to blame. If pointing fingers doesn't move you forward, why waste energy on it? If blaming others doesn't solve your problems, why keep repeating it? Tonight you can rise above. Tonight you can choose ownership over excuses. And when you do, something remarkable happens. Your energy shifts. Instead of being drained by resentment, you are fueled by determination. Instead of waiting for others to change so you can finally be happy, you change yourself. Instead of being tossed around by circumstances, you become the master of your response. This invisible shift is the birth of real power. It's the moment you stop being a fragile leaf blown by every wind and become the rooted tree that bends but never breaks. So stop blaming. Stop saying, if only. Stop looking outward and start looking inward. Tonight, stand in front of the mirror and declare, I am responsible for my growth. I am responsible for my peace. I am responsible for my future. That one decision will make you unshakable. If this truth struck something deep inside you, type this powerful affirmation in the comments. I take full responsibility for my life. Say it as you type it. Feel it in your chest, because tonight is the night you take back control. Number 2, peace doesn't come from escape. It comes from endurance. Right now, as you're watching this, millions of people are doing what society trained them to do when life gets hard. They run. They run to Netflix to binge away their problems. They run to social media to numb their minds. They run to alcohol, to shopping, to food, to anything that offers temporary relief. But here's the truth the Stoics understood, and psychology now affirms. You cannot escape your way to peace. We live in the first civilization designed entirely around escape. Don't like how you feel? There's a pill. Feeling anxious? Here's an app. Heartbroken? There's a dating site? Stressed? Endless entertainment. But after all that running, ask yourself honestly, are you more at peace today than you were a year ago? Or are you just more distracted, more numb, more exhausted? Every time you choose escape over endurance, you're not solving your problems. You're feeding them. You're not moving toward peace. You're postponing it. And that postponement is costing you your life. Seneca said it best. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Think about it. Every diamond was just carbon under crushing pressure. Every sword was forged in fire. Every truly resilient human was once a beginner who chose not to quit when things got unbearable. You cannot refine your soul by running from storms. You cannot uncover your strength by hiding from discomfort. Peace is not found in avoidance. Peace is forged in endurance. When you run from pain, you only stretch the distance between yourself and healing. It's like breaking a bone and refusing treatment. You think you're avoiding pain, but you're actually choosing lifelong damage. But when you face the pain with courage, something incredible happens. The pain begins to lose its power over you. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They didn't see suffering as punishment. They saw it as a teacher. Every challenge is a lesson written in fire, and only those who endure have the strength to read it. Endurance doesn't mean becoming passive or accepting abuse. True endurance is strength in action. It's looking at hardship and saying, yes, this is heavy. Yes, it hurts. But I am stronger than I know, and I will not bow to it. Picture two people experiencing the same heartbreak. One runs to distractions, scrolling endlessly, binge-watching, numbing with alcohol, chasing rebound relationships. The other sits with the pain. They ask, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? A year later, the first person is still running, trapped in cycles of escape. The second has emerged freer, stronger, and at peace. That's the power of endurance. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Endurance is that revocation. It's the decision to no longer let external events dictate your internal state. So ask yourself honestly, how many times this week did you escape instead of endure? How many times did you scroll instead of sit with your thoughts? How many times did you run instead of face what hurt? Tonight can be the night you end that cycle. Tonight, instead of running, you can sit still. Instead of escaping, you can embrace. Instead of drowning in avoidance, you can breathe through discomfort and watch your strength unfold. Because what no one tells you is this: the very thing you think will break you is often the thing that transforms you. That wound you're avoiding might be the very place where light enters your life. That trial you're resisting may become the foundation of your greatest strength. Endurance is not punishment. It is preparation. So when your mind whispers, run, escape, numb the pain, I want you to whisper back, I will not escape. I will endure. I will find peace not by avoiding storms, but by walking through them with courage. And when you make that choice, when you finally stop running, you'll discover something life-changing. The storm isn't nearly as terrifying as you thought, because the strength you were searching for was within you all along. If this truth resonated deeply, declare it in the comments. I face challenges with calm and resilience. Say it as you type it. Own those words, because tonight, you are stepping into the kind of peace that cannot be taken from you. Number 3, discomfort is not your enemy. It's a compass. Right now, I can promise you something. There's an area of your life you're avoiding. Something that makes your chest tighten, your palms sweat, your mind whisper excuses like, not today, maybe later. Something that feels so uncomfortable you'd rather push it aside than face it. And here's the tragedy. 99% of people misinterpret that discomfort. They see it as a warning sign, a red light, a giant flashing signal that says, turn back, danger ahead, this isn't for you. But what if I told you that discomfort is not a stop sign at all? What if it's the single most valuable signal life can give you? We've been programmed completely backwards. The instant most people feel fear, pressure, or resistance, they retreat, like an army hearing retreat horns. They assume discomfort means they're going the wrong way. They believe anxiety is some kind of wisdom, protecting them from mistakes. But here's the truth. discomfort is trying to teach you. It's not a warning to stop. It's proof you're stepping beyond your old limits and into the sacred zone where real growth happens. Think about it. Every defining moment of your life carried discomfort. Your first day at a job, asking out someone you liked, moving to a new city, launching a business, having that difficult conversation you'd been dreading. Every one of those moments had one thing in common. They were uncomfortable as hell, and yet they shaped you. Epictetus said it beautifully. Difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Discomfort is a mirror. It reflects your fears, your doubts, your untested strength, and instead of running from that reflection, you must study it. Because only when you see your limits clearly can you begin to break them. You can't grow beyond what you refuse to face. You can't become stronger without resistance. You can't unlock your true power while staying trapped in comfort. Look at how muscles grow. They don't get stronger by staying relaxed, by avoiding strain, by never being pushed. They grow because of resistance, because they're torn down and rebuilt stronger. That burning sensation you feel in the gym, that's not pain. That's growth in real time. And your mind, your spirit, your character, they work the exact same way. The strongest souls are forged in the fire of discomfort. The deepest wisdom comes through trials. The most unshakable resilience is born in moments where you feel like breaking. But keep going anyway. If you want to grow into the person you're meant to be, you must stop seeing discomfort as an enemy and start recognizing it as your greatest guide. The world today has been designed to maximize comfort. Food delivered in minutes. Infinite entertainment at your fingertips. Social media algorithms feeding you what you want to hear. Dating apps that bypass real, vulnerable connection. Convenience is everywhere. But here's the dark truth. Comfort is the most seductive drug in existence. It feels safe, but it keeps you small. It feels protective, but it chains you to mediocrity. Discomfort, on the other hand, feels terrifying, but it's the forge of greatness. Every breakthrough in human history was born in discomfort. Every transformation begins where comfort ends. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the Stoics' secret. The obstacle you dread most is the exact door you must walk through. If something scares you, it means it matters. If something challenges you, it means you're standing at the edge of becoming someone new. If something feels impossible, it means you're about to uncover strength you didn't even know existed. Yet most people sabotage their growth. They quit 1 mile before the summit. They misinterpret fear as a reason to turn back, when in reality, that fear is confirmation they're on the right path. So let me ask you, what discomfort have you been avoiding? Is it the conversation you know you need to have? Starting the business you've been dreaming of? Going to the gym after years of neglect? Learning a new skill that makes you feel clumsy? Setting boundaries with people who drain your energy? Leaving a relationship that no longer serves you? Applying for the job you don't feel ready for? None of that discomfort is random. It's a signal pointing you to the exact place your growth is waiting. When you finally reframe discomfort, everything changes. Fear turns into fuel. Pressure transforms into energy. Anxiety becomes anticipation. Resistance becomes a roadmap. And from this night forward, you can choose to flip the script. Discomfort is no longer a stop sign, it's a green light. So the next time your chest tightens, the next time fear whispers turn back, I want you to pause, breathe, and repeat these words. This is not a stop sign. This is a signal. Discomfort is guiding me to who I'm meant to become. On the other side of that discomfort is the life you've been searching for. The stronger, braver, unstoppable version of yourself is waiting there. If this truth resonated with you, if you feel like it gave you the permission to stop running from discomfort and start leaning into it, declare it now in the comments. Type it. Say it out loud as you type it. I embrace discomfort as my guide to growth. Number 4. Saying less is a sign of inner strength. Right now, as you watch this, millions of people across the world are wasting their breath, typing angry comments, firing back at strangers online, getting into endless debates, desperately trying to win arguments that won't matter a week from now. They confuse noise with power. They believe that the loudest voice always wins. They think defending themselves endlessly makes them strong. But here's the truth. The Stoics discovered centuries ago. Real strength doesn't live in the noise, it lives in the silence. We are living in the loudest age in human history. Social media has trained us to believe every thought must be shared, every opinion defended, every insult answered. We've been conditioned to equate silence with weakness. We think not responding means losing, but the ancients understood something profound. In a noisy world, silence is not weakness. It's the ultimate display of power. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But this isn't just about being polite or being a good listener. It's about realizing that silence is a weapon of wisdom. Silence is control. Silence is mastery. It's the ability to let your actions speak so loudly that you don't need to waste your words proving anything to anyone. When you learn to say less, you unlock a hidden advantage. You stop burning energy trying to convince people who don't want to understand you. You stop feeding arguments that were never worth having. You stop pouring your emotional fuel into battles that can't be won. Every unnecessary word you withhold becomes energy you can reinvest into your growth. Every argument you walk away from becomes peace you keep for yourself. Every insult you don't answer becomes proof that your self-control is stronger than someone else's need for chaos. Think about the last time you held back when you wanted to lash out. That was power. The last time you walked away instead of escalating a pointless fight? That was wisdom. The last time you chose quiet composure instead of unleashing all the words running through your head? That was self-mastery. Most people don't understand this. People who always need the last word aren't strong. They're insecure. People who constantly explain themselves aren't in control. They're afraid of being misunderstood. But the person who can remain calm, who chooses silence when silence carries more weight than 1,000 words ever could, that person commands respect without ever demanding it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are silent, be silent as one who has the strength to speak but refrains." Read that again. Silence is not weakness. It's restraint. It's strength held in reserve. It's proof that you could speak, you could fight back, you could argue, but you don't need to. That's what separates the master from the amateur. Amateurs react to everything. Masters respond only to what truly deserves their energy. Here's what nobody told you growing up. Silence is protection. Words once spoken can never be taken back. They can wound deeper than weapons. They can destroy relationships that could have been repaired. They can burn bridges you might need later. But silence protects your peace. Silence guards your energy. Silence shields you from battles that were never worth fighting. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every argument deserves your time. Not every challenge deserves your effort. Not every provocation deserves your energy, and in that silence, something incredible happens. You start listening. You notice things others miss. You see patterns hidden between people's words. You uncover truths buried beneath all the noise. While others are talking, you're learning. While they're defending, you're growing. While they're proving, you're becoming. So the next time someone tries to bait you into an argument, remember, you don't have to take the bait. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself to someone who doesn't want to understand, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? The next time you want to prove your point, remind yourself, the last word belongs to the one who doesn't need it. Silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's not losing, it's choosing. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Tonight, when you feel the urge to argue, to defend, to explain, I want you to try something different. Pause, breathe, let silence do the heavy lifting. Remember, silence is not a cage that traps you. It's a shield that protects you. It's not proof you've lost. It's proof you've already won the most important battle of all, the battle for self-control. Your silence sends a message louder than any words. I am so secure in who I am. I don't need to prove it to anyone. If this truth hit home for you, if it gave you permission to stop wasting your energy on noise, declare it in the comments right now. Say it softly as you type it. I speak less, I empower more. Number 5, you don't need motivation, you need discipline. Right now, Millions of people across the world are desperately chasing the same fleeting illusion: motivation. They're scrolling through endless motivational videos, repeating inspiring quotes, attending expensive seminars, and waiting for that lightning bolt of inspiration to finally push them into action. But here's the uncomfortable truth the Stoics understood long before us: you're chasing the wrong thing entirely. Motivation isn't the secret ingredient to success. Motivation is unreliable, inconsistent, and temporary. The real force that separates those who dream from those who achieve is not motivation. It's discipline. Think about the most successful people you admire. Maybe it's a great leader, an elite athlete, an extraordinary artist, or a self-made entrepreneur. Here's their secret. They are not more motivated than you. They are not fueled by endless inspiration. They simply built their lives on the foundation of discipline, the ability to act consistently, regardless of how they feel. Let me ask you honestly, how did your last burst of motivation turn out? You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe you watched a powerful YouTube video that made you feel unstoppable. Maybe you read a book that set your soul on fire. Maybe you saw someone else's success story and thought, that could be me. And for a short while, you were driven. You worked hard for a day, a week, maybe even a month. But then what happened? Life got difficult. You got tired. The spark faded. And slowly, you quit. That's the problem with motivation. It's not designed to last. It's like a sugar rush. It spikes your energy, gives you a temporary high, and then it crashes. If you build your life on motivation, you're building your future on sand. Stoicism teaches us that what matters is not the feeling of the moment, but the commitment to principle and action regardless of mood. Motivation is like the weather, unpredictable and always changing. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other mornings you wake up empty, drained, uninspired. If you only move forward on the days when the weather is perfect, your dreams will remain out of reach forever. Champions don't wait for perfect weather. Athletes don't only train on days when they feel like it. Writers don't only write when inspiration strikes. Leaders don't only lead when it's convenient. They all act because discipline demands it. Not because motivation suggests it. Seneca once wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." And preparation doesn't come from waiting to feel motivated. Preparation comes from showing up again and again, even on the days when your energy is low, your heart isn't in it, and your body wants to quit. Motivation may get you started, but only discipline will carry you across the finish line. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly in his Meditations. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for. This is the essence of Stoic discipline. You rise not because you feel like it, but because life demands it. You act not because you're motivated, but because you are committed to becoming the person you are capable of being. And here's the paradox. Most people don't understand. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is freedom. When you live with discipline, you no longer waste endless energy debating with yourself every morning. You don't spend hours asking, do I feel like working out today? Do I feel like studying? Do I feel like putting in the effort? The decision has already been made. The standard is set. You simply act. And in that action, day after day, you build momentum so powerful it becomes unstoppable. Each act of discipline is like a deposit into the bank of your character. It compounds quietly, invisibly, but inevitably. And while motivation fades after a few days, discipline transforms you over years. Motivation will excite you, but discipline will define you. Here's the ultimate secret. Discipline actually creates motivation. Every time you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, you see progress. And progress fuels confidence. Confidence builds self-belief. And self-belief naturally creates motivation. But it always works in this order. Discipline first, motivation second. Wait for motivation to act and you'll wait forever. Build discipline and motivation will begin to chase you. Think about it. How many times have you dreaded a task, only to find that once you started, momentum carried you forward? That wasn't motivation. That was discipline doing its work. So ask yourself right now, do you really need another burst of temporary inspiration? Or do you need a lifelong commitment to discipline? Do you want the sugar rush, or do you want the steady fire that forges lasting transformation? Motivation whispers, but discipline builds. Motivation fades, but discipline lasts. Motivation excites, but discipline transforms. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? And start asking, how do I stay disciplined? Build habits and systems that don't depend on how you feel. Create standards that you uphold no matter what. Commit to small daily actions that move you forward. Not when you're inspired, but especially when you're not. Because at the end of your life, you won't remember the motivational quotes that fired you up for a week. What you will remember is the discipline that shaped your destiny. The mornings you got up when your body screamed to stay in bed. The nights you kept working when nobody else was watching. The consistency that turned dreams into reality. That's the real legacy of discipline. And if this truth struck a chord with you, I want you to declare it boldly. Drop this powerful affirmation in the comments and make it your new identity. Discipline drives my success, not motivation. Number 6, detachment is the highest form of self-respect. Most people believe self-respect is built on achievement, on climbing higher, owning more, collecting trophies, earning recognition, and proving themselves to the world. But what if everything you've been taught about self-respect is upside down? What if true self-respect isn't about adding layers to your life, but about peeling them away? What if the ultimate strength doesn't come from attachment at all, but from the rare and radical ability to detach? We live in a world that glorifies clinging. We're told never to let go, no matter how toxic the relationship, how draining the job, or how shallow the pursuit. We hold on to possessions as if they prove our worth. We chase validation as if it will finally silence the doubts in our heads. But here's the truth nobody dares to say. Every time you cling to something that diminishes you, every time you stay chained to what steals your energy, you are not showing loyalty. You are showing a lack of self-respect. Real self-respect doesn't announce itself with noise. It doesn't come with applause or likes on social media. It is quiet, invisible to the shallow eye, yet unshakably powerful. True self-respect is the ability to detach, to walk away with grace when something no longer serves your highest good, to choose peace over people-pleasing, clarity over chaos, and freedom over false security. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus reminded us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Detachment is not indifference. It's liberation. It's the refusal to be enslaved by fragile things that break, by opinions that wound your spirit, by temporary circumstances that steal your joy. Detachment is the bold declaration, I am whole without this. I am complete as I am. Think about it. When you are attached, you are not free. You cling to relationships that hurt more than they heal. You cling to paychecks that suffocate your soul, mistaking survival for life. You cling to old stories about yourself, lies you never questioned but still carry as truth. And why? Out of fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of what might happen if you finally let go. But detachment cuts through fear. It whispers the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. You are enough, even when everything else falls away. Now let's be clear. Detachment is not coldness. It's not shutting yourself off from love or turning numb to the beauty of the world. That isn't strength, it's avoidance. Detachment means you still care deeply, but you don't cling desperately. You can give without losing yourself. You can love without trying to possess. You can show up fully yet remain internally free. That is why detachment is the highest form of self-respect. It says, I value myself too much to let anything or anyone own my peace, my worth, or my identity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't morbid, it's clarity. Detachment begins with the awareness that everything is temporary. Life is temporary. The possessions you hoard, temporary. The status you chase, temporary. Even the people you love most, your time with them is temporary. So why chain your identity to what is destined to vanish? When you embrace impermanence, clinging becomes impossible. And in that impossibility, you discover true power. Detachment brings razor-sharp clarity. It exposes which relationships are genuine connections and which are emotional shackles. It shows you where you've been bleeding energy, pouring into situations that give nothing in return. It teaches you the difference between love and dependence, between loyalty and bondage, between caring and clinging. Attachment is rooted in need.
I need them to validate me.
I need this title to prove my worth. I need these possessions to feel whole. But detachment is rooted in choice. I choose to love. I choose to create. I choose what adds value to my life. One is desperation. The other is power. So picture this moment. You're standing before everything that once owned you. The fear of being alone, the hunger for approval, the attachment to outcomes, the toxic relationships that kept you small. And you finally say, you no longer control me. My peace is not for sale. My worth is not up for negotiation. I am free. That is the moment you step into unshakable self-respect. Because the person who no longer needs external validation has discovered the only wealth that cannot be stolen: inner freedom. And that freedom changes everything. So tonight, I want you to reflect. Where are you clinging? To people who drain your light? To jobs that suffocate your soul? To grudges that poison your heart? To the illusion that your worth depends on approval, possessions, or status? Ask yourself, can I love without clinging? Can I walk away without resentment? Can I release with strength instead of holding on with fear? If you can learn the art of detachment, not with bitterness but with peace, you'll find yourself lighter, freer, and more alive than you've ever been. You'll stop needing circumstances to be perfect. You'll stop demanding that people change for you to feel whole. You'll stop tying your identity to fragile things. Because when you detach, you return home to yourself. You remember who you were before the world convinced you that you had to prove your worth. If this truth speaks to you, I want you to claim it right now in the comments. Type this declaration and let it anchor in your heart. I honor myself through detachment. Say it, type it, and believe it. Because the moment you do, you take your first step toward unshakable freedom. Number 7, your mind is a garden. Protect what you plant. Right now, as you watch this, there is a garden growing inside your mind. And here's what almost everyone misses. Everything you feed it grows. Every thought you nurture, every idea you dwell on, every belief you entertain, it all takes root and becomes part of who you are. The tragedy is that most people allow their minds to become wastelands, overrun with negativity, strangled by fear, and choked by self-doubt. But if you want to transform your life, you must become the fiercest guardian of what you plant in your mental garden. Your mind is the most sacred territory you will ever own. More valuable than any property, more precious than any possession, more powerful than any external achievement. And this isn't just philosophy. This is science. This is neuroscience. This is the foundational truth separating those who thrive from those who merely survive. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. If your mental garden is full of toxic thoughts, it will eventually reflect in your life. Anxiety, fear, resentment, and insecurity will flourish. But if you deliberately cultivate your mind with wisdom, discipline, and resilience, your life will thrive no matter the storms that hit. Here's something most people never consider. Every day, seeds are being planted in your mind. What you watch before bed, seeds. The podcasts you listen to, seeds. The social media you scroll through, seeds. The people you spend time with, their attitudes, their energy, their conversations, seeds. Every interaction, every intake is either strengthening your garden or spreading weeds of anxiety, fear, and weakness. So here's the life-changing question. What am I allowing to grow inside me? Most people never ask it. They passively consume whatever comes their way, spend time with anyone who's available, and then wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, or unfulfilled. Constant exposure to negativity will suffocate courage. Fear-based thinking will choke out your potential. Comparison through social media will cultivate envy and inadequacy like weeds in fertile soil. But the opposite is also true. Deliberately planting seeds of gratitude, self-control, wisdom, and resilience will create a mental sanctuary that is unshakable, no matter what chaos surrounds you. Consider the most peaceful, confident person you know. I guarantee they are fiercely selective about what enters their mind. They've mastered the art of mental gardening. Epictetus taught, Keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. But this principle extends far beyond people. Every book you read, every video you watch, every social media account you follow, every conversation you engage in, they are gardeners working in your mind. Some plant flowers, some scatter weeds, and you decide which seeds take root. Guard your garden ruthlessly. Protect your thoughts as if your life depends on it, because it does. But planting good seeds is only half the battle. You must also uproot weeds before they take hold. Pull out bitterness, envy, resentment, and fear as soon as they appear. Replace them with stronger, healthier thoughts. Your mind requires daily maintenance. You cannot plant a few seeds of wisdom and expect a lifetime of mental clarity. And remember this: gardens grow slowly. One book, one conversation, one insight will not instantly transform your mindset. Change is gradual, but with consistent effort, your inner world strengthens. Your thoughts shape your character, your relationships, your health, your happiness, your resilience. So tonight, be brutally honest. Examine what seeds you've been planting. Look at what you watch, listen to, read, and the people you allow in your mental space. If your mental garden does not reflect the life you want, it's time to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. From this moment forward, you are the guardian of your mind. Protect it. Nourish it with truth, discipline, and wisdom. Remove anything that stunts your growth. Choose every input like medicine for your soul, because in a very real sense, that's exactly what you are doing. Your future will always grow from the soil of your mind. The thoughts you cultivate today will determine the person you become tomorrow. If this truth resonates, claim it now. Drop this declaration in the comments and make it your new identity as a mental gardener. I choose what grows in my mind. Say it, feel it, and believe it. From tonight onward, you take full responsibility for the garden in your mind and the life it will create. Number 8. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. Right now, there are countless people desperately trying to recover from trauma, heartbreak, and life's deepest wounds. Yet they remain trapped in the very environments that caused their pain in the first place. They believe healing is merely a matter of time. They think if they wait long enough, endure patiently, or try hard enough, they will magically become whole again. But here is the uncompromising truth that most people refuse to hear. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. Healing is not a passive process that simply unfolds over time. True recovery is not something that happens to you automatically. Most people have it completely backwards. They believe that simply surviving the passage of days will erase the damage, as if time alone can repair wounds inflicted by toxic people, destructive patterns, or limiting environments. The truth is, healing is deliberate. Healing requires intention. Healing requires creating the conditions for transformation. And one of the most powerful conditions for recovery is your environment. Think about it in the simplest terms. Imagine planting a seed in poisoned soil. It doesn't matter how much water you give it, how much sunlight it receives, or how long you wait. That seed will never grow into the strong, flourishing plant it was meant to become. Your mind, your spirit, and your capacity to heal work the same way. If you remain surrounded by toxicity, chaos, or constant reminders of your past wounds, no amount of time or effort will allow you to flourish. Your healing is being sabotaged every day. You remain in the same soil that nurtured your pain. Epictetus warned, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." You cannot rise if you continuously surround yourself with those who pull you down. You cannot find peace if your daily environment is saturated with noise, chaos, negativity, and triggers that constantly remind you of what once hurt you. This isn't about becoming antisocial or abandoning responsibility. It's about understanding a fundamental Stoic principle. Your environment either supports your growth or undermines it. There is no neutral ground. Be brutally honest with yourself. How many times have you tried to recover while remaining stuck in destructive cycles? How many times have you attempted to grow while maintaining relationships that drain your energy, routines that reinforce weakness, or physical spaces that echo the trauma of your past? You've been trying to sew a wound while continuously tearing it open. You've attempted to build strength in the very spaces that feed your limitations. Maybe it's staying friends with people who constantly remind you of your failures rather than celebrating your growth. Maybe it's living in a space cluttered with echoes of your past rather than cultivating a sanctuary for your future. Maybe it's following old habits, routines, or thought patterns formed during your darkest moments instead of designing new ones for the person you are becoming. Healing cannot thrive in an environment that continuously triggers your pain. Now let's clarify something essential. Leaving a toxic environment doesn't always mean relocating to a new city, changing jobs, or severing every connection. Sometimes healing begins by creating boundaries within your existing environment. It means refusing to allow old voices, destructive habits, and negative influences to control your mind, your energy, and your progress. It means making choices that prioritize your growth and recovery, even when others misunderstand or resist those choices. Perhaps it's setting boundaries with family members who constantly bring up past mistakes. Perhaps it's unfollowing social media accounts that generate comparison, anxiety, or self-doubt. Perhaps it's redesigning your daily routines to reduce triggers that send you into spirals of pain or insecurity. Healing is as much about managing energy as it is about geography. Where you focus, where you spend your time, and what you allow into your life all shape your ability to rebuild. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." If your current environment is saturated with negativity, distraction, or constant triggers, your mind will remain trapped in cycles that keep you broken. Your external world directly influences your internal state. Surround yourself with chaos, and your thoughts become chaotic. Surround yourself with criticism and doubt, and your confidence erodes. Surround yourself with people who do not believe in your growth, and you will begin doubting your own potential. Conversely, when you intentionally cultivate a healing environment, spaces of peace, relationships that uplift, routines that empower, and content that inspires, you give yourself the sacred soil in which transformation can grow. This is the real secret to recovery. Healing is not about waiting. It's about creating. Our culture often misinterprets healing. Walking away, establishing boundaries, and prioritizing your own growth are not acts of weakness. They are acts of profound courage and self-respect. Choosing your healing over someone else's comfort, prioritizing your transformation over maintaining a toxic status quo, is one of the most revolutionary things you can do. The day you commit to protecting your mental and emotional environment is the day you honor your own worth. It is the day you declare, "I matter enough to create the conditions for my own transformation." So tonight I want you to perform an honest environmental audit. Examine your relationships. Are the people around you celebrating your growth or undermining it? Do they lift your spirit or drain it? Do they remind you of who you're becoming or trap you in who you used to be? Examine your physical spaces. Does your home, office, or personal sanctuary feel like a place that nurtures growth, calm, and inspiration? Or is it a museum of your past pain? Examine your routines. Are they designed to reinforce healing and progress? Or do they perpetuate old patterns and self-sabotage? Examine your mental inputs. Are the books you read, the shows you watch, the social media you scroll through nourishing recovery, or feeding the wounds you're trying to heal? Tonight, ask yourself this life-altering question. Am I trying to heal in the same environment that broke me? Be unflinchingly honest. Don't make excuses. Don't rationalize why you remain in situations that harm your growth. If the answer is yes, if you are trying to rise while rooted in toxic soil, it may be time to make a change. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient for others, but now. Because healing does not happen by accident. It occurs when you deliberately create the environment, the space, and the conditions to grow into the person you were always meant to become. Surround yourself with people who see your potential, not just your past. Design spaces that feel peaceful, inspiring, and empowering rather than chaotic and triggering. Establish routines that support the person you are becoming instead of reinforcing the person you were. Consume content that nurtures your mind, your courage, and your growth, rather than feeding old trauma patterns. Tonight, choose your environment with the same intention you would choose your own life. The right environment doesn't just support healing, it accelerates it. The wrong environment, no matter how much time passes, will keep you trapped in cycles of pain. Number 9. Every moment is a choice between power or pain. Number 9. The final truth. is deceptively simple but profoundly life-changing. Every single moment of your life is a choice between power or pain. Not physical pain, but the unnecessary suffering you create when emotions, impulses, and external chaos take control of your mind. Most people go through life completely unaware that they are making this choice every day, every hour, every second. But tonight, you're going to become one of the few who does. The Stoics taught that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. That response is the true measure of your freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When someone insults you, you have two paths: pain or power. You can choose pain, reacting with anger, resentment, and replaying their words in your mind, allowing them to steal your peace. Or you can choose power, staying calm, showing restraint, and protecting your inner fortress, your mind, that no one can invade. The same applies when life throws its inevitable challenges at you. You can choose pain, complain, feel sorry for yourself, and blame others. Or you can choose power, accept the challenge, face it with courage, and endure with strength. Most people live on autopilot, reacting impulsively, giving their power away to every person and circumstance that triggers them. Awareness is where transformation begins. Every time you pause and ask yourself, will I choose power or pain in this moment? You reclaim control over your life. Think about it. Every past argument you regret, every moment of bitterness, every decision made in anger, those were moments of pain. Every time you stayed calm, protected your peace, and acted with self-discipline, those were moments of power. The difference is always in the choice. The Stoics didn't deny emotions, they acknowledged them, but they taught that emotions must never be your master. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every insult, every challenge, every setback is an opportunity to turn pain into power. Every reaction is a chance to strengthen your mind and character. You cannot avoid difficulty, but you can choose how to meet it. And in that choice, you either weaken yourself with unnecessary suffering or elevate yourself with timeless power. So tonight, and in every moment that follows, remind yourself, every moment is a choice. Don't give your peace away cheaply. Don't let trivial matters own your mind. Choose power, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to live with strength, dignity, and purpose. One night, one moment of courage, one decision to stop living on autopilot can change everything. Begin your transformation. Tonight, we began this journey with the truth that control begins when blame ends. We learned that peace is not found in escape, but in endurance. We discovered that discomfort is not the enemy, but a signal for growth, that silence carries strength. Discipline outlasts motivation. Detachment honors your worth. Your mind is a garden. Your environment shapes your healing, and every moment is a choice between power or pain. This isn't abstract philosophy. This is your life. And tonight, you hold the key to transformation, not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by choosing now to take control. Transformation begins in the mind, in the choices you make, and in the courage to act differently than you did yesterday. One night of honesty, one night of courage, one night where you decide to step into your power can make you unrecognizable, not to the world, but to yourself. Don't wait for someone to inspire you. Don't wait for the circumstances to be perfect. Don't wait for fear to vanish. Start tonight. Choose strength over weakness, awareness over distraction, and power over pain. Let tonight be the moment that defines you, the night you decided to truly live. If this message moved you, don't let it stay with just you. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, subscribe to Stoic Sage Academy, and drop your affirmation in the comments. Make this your declaration. Tonight I begin my transformation. Your journey doesn't start tomorrow. It starts now. And from this moment forward, every choice you make can either build your power or feed your pain. Choose wisely.